What's up, everybody? It's just Joseph.
And Nikki B here.
Look, Futureland365 podcast and radio show.
Oh my gosh, you all. We just had an amazing conversation with Mr. Sir Evans. Want to find out your superpower? Guess what? Tune in here. You don't want to miss it.
Tune in.
Peace. Awesome and amazing day, you all. It's Nikki B here. And usually you would hear it's just Joseph as well. But it's me holding it down for Futureland365 right here on WOVU 95.9. And I'm so excited today, you all. We have an amazing guest in the building. But before I introduce our guest, I want you guys to take a little time to like, share, and subscribe on all of our platforms, our social media platforms, Futureland CLE, as well as our website at futurelandcle.com, and subscribe to our newsletter. And that way you'll stay connected with all of the events, workshops, all of the cool things that we have going on right here at Futureland 365 as well. So I'm excited, you all. This conversation is going to be really, really good. Because looking at this person's journey from a high level, not really diving deep, but today we get to dive deep a little bit, right? Share exactly what he does and how he does it. So today, you all, we have none other than Mr. Sir Evans, who is a coach, author, speaker, founder of Quality SIRvice. So welcome to Futureland 365.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for saying yes and coming to share what you do, but not to jump too far, but sharing your superpower.
Sure. Absolutely. I love everything that the Futureland has been going on. So I love it. And I love it for the city too. So absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And for sure, this is where we highlight Cleveland's bold innovators, creators, and entrepreneurs. So I love that you're saying, I love what Futureland is doing for the community, for the city. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So how are you feeling? You feeling good right now?
I'm feeling fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, it's hotter than they may think it is outside right now, but it's beautiful right now.
Yes, definitely transition. Although it's still spring, it's coming into summer.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So I'm looking forward to that beach time, relaxing, being outside, outdoor events, and all those good things.
Yeah.
So let's jump into who is Sir Evans?
Who is Sir Evans?
Who is Sir Evans?
That is a great question. Well, Sir Evans is a man of God. He's a husband. He is a father. And he is the superpower planner in a nutshell.
Superpower planner.
And I really think it's in that order, right? Because
Yeah.
it's through the Lord that kind of gives him my strength through everything. But at my core, I think I'm somebody who's been gifted with the ability to communicate with others in a way that can change lives. So then it becomes, what are we communicating?
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's really good. You know, the message is important.
Yeah.
Right. And then when you have a message, it's like, why that message? So you find out the message, but then you find out what's the motivation behind the message.
Sure.
Right. So help us understand a little bit more about your journey.
Yeah.
You know, as I was looking into your story and what it is that you do and how you serve the community and your leadership and all those things, I was like, well, dang, where is this drive come from, right? So one of the first things that actually stood out to me, and I was just like, man, this guy's a go-getter, right? You lost a significant amount of weight.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So tell us a little bit about that. And does that help you to serve your community as well?
Yeah. So overall, I probably lost about 300 pounds. It was a journey that started for me when I was about 20 years old. And it was a result of seeing my mother transition, right? She was at a point where she had just had this gastric bypass surgery. And I remember telling her, like, Mom, I want to have that surgery. She said, sir, you don't need that. You're young, you just work out, you eat right. And I said, whatever. We'll go back to living life how we want to live. But at that time, I really also didn't live that I would think that I would live to see like past 25.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's a common misconception, if you will, especially for young black men. But I really didn't think that I would live to see past that. So I didn't strive for it. I didn't look forward to it. I didn't really, put that much effort into it. And I felt as though I kept getting woke up for a reason. Didn't know what that reason was, and I wanted to see a change.
You mean daily waking up, literally
Daily
opening your
waking up,
eyes,
waking up,
getting another opportunity to
Indeed.
live this life
Right.
and to serve and to share your
Exactly.
testimony. Okay.
Exactly. What do
Yeah.
what do you keep waking me up for?
Yeah,
Like, what
what-
are we doing here? What are we doing?
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a heavy, real question to ask.
Yeah.
Meaning, you're like, wait a minute, there has to be more to this life
Absolutely.
than the way that I am treating it or looking at it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you ask that question, what started to happen within you? Because also what I'm seeing within your story as well was there is a lot of chaos,
Yeah.
like right within you. So to me, you brought that chaos and you turned it into clarity.
That's a good choice of words. Chaos. That's a good choice of words. And I think sometimes people learn to live under chaos and thrive under chaos, but it comes with a price tag, right? It comes with a price tag. And I think for me, I was battling the weight, also was doing music. So I feel like just doing music
Doing
comes
music,
with
what do you
this.
mean by that? People, that's really general, sir. Tell
I have
me,
to
what does that
say
mean?
doing music, right? It's a lifestyle that comes with it. It's like if I'm going to be a banker, I know that I'm probably going to work banker's hours, right?
Okay.
If I'm in music, if I'm doing music, right? Doing music specifically, I'm probably making some music. I'm probably indulging in alcohol, substances, things that are
I
stereotypically
see.
driven by the culture of what hip hop
Okay.
is, right? So I'm doing music. Also, we doing some business in there too, but doing the music part is
The
what was
lifestyle of
chaotic,
it.
right? That's what was chaotic, the lifestyle that comes with it. And, it also comes a point in time where certain things that you're doing in the midst of that chaos, you're not talking about in your music, right? So where do you turn that outlet out? So it just kept building up. I also remember the weight was so heavy at a point in time where couldn't even breathe in the car. I'm driving and I'm in the passenger and I'm talking, I couldn't even have a conversation.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, this is it. So it's that consistent waking up where it's like, okay, what do you want me to do different?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Right. No, that's
Yeah.
good. And thank you for sharing that. That's so important, right?
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have those pivotal moments in your life. Like,
Absolutely.
this cannot be it. There
Yeah.
has to be something more.
Yeah.
And with that something more, that means I have to go deeper within myself
Yeah.
to find that and to humble myself. To humble myself so that
Yeah.
I can excel
Yeah.
in the gifts and the things that the Lord has placed within me. So with that, okay, we know that you had those challenges. You start working out, things like that. So how did quality service come
Sure.
about within that journey?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think now we start to understand, like, okay, so
Yeah.
quality service, how did that come about, and probably about what time?
So Quality SIRvice started in 2016. The weight loss was a prerequisite for Quality SIRvice, right? It was an ingredient piece. I needed to see that I could do it, right? But I call those light bulb moments that we were just talking about, but there also has to be a breaking point. There has to be a breaking point. And the breaking point, I had started the weight loss journey, but what really drove it home was for that chaos overspilling that we mentioned, that chaos breaking point. It was when my mother passed away. And within less than 2 years, my sister passed away too. So it was really through those areas that I channeled that energy, right? I channeled that energy into my weight loss. At the same time, I just pivoted from music back into my education. My mother was a teacher her entire career. I said, if music is meant to be, it'll be, but I felt like I owed it to her to go and get my education. So I went to Bowling Green State University, and I'm noticing that the same juice, if you will, that I'm using to excel in music, right? To touch stages with like 50 Cent or D. Pharrell or The Lox. It's the same energy that I'm using in this weight loss. It's the same energy that I used to get myself from the life that I was living into a different scenery, in a different situation. And I thought about all of the people that I grew up with. Thought about all of the people that I encountered on a daily basis that might not have went through some of the things that I went through. And I realized that I wanted to be a conduit for them, to be able to see like, hey, this is possible for you. If we can tap into that unique strength that you have, that is your fuel to get you there. And that's where Quality SIRvice was born.
Okay.
Out of that desire to really help individuals overcome that adversity.
And so that's really good to hear that. Like, oh, there's this light bulb moment. I'm here in school, but I realized like I'm feeling the same feelings that I'm feeling when I was doing music.
Right.
So just a little pause right here.
Sure.
What music were you a musician? Did you sing?
So
Did you
hip hop,
play
I
the
rap.
keys?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a way with words, so I'm good at it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Clearly, you're
But yes.
clearly you have a way with their words because what you say has a certain frequency, and people they listen, right? Or they lean in a little bit more.
Sure.
So I just wanted to hear a little bit more about that. So, you know, when you were at Bowling Green, right? What courses or what classes, who did you meet? Was there a professor or something that said, hey, son, or hey, young man, here's, you have something and let's move that, or was it that person or a course?
There was. And when I went to school, I didn't want to study business, right? I was already doing business from music. So I actually, at the time, I wanted to be Dr. Phil meets Hitch. That was what I envisioned in my head. I wanted to be
That's really
this
good.
Dr. Phil meets
I
Hitch,
can actually
right?
see that.
That's what I wanted. So I'm like,
You
okay.
kind of giving the vibe. Can you guys see? I can't unsee it
see
now.
it?
You see the face. Look at his face. It's Hitch
Don't
and
forget that
Dr.
you might
Phil
see it in the
together.
future. That's
what I'm saying, you all.
know. Yeah. So I went to school for psychology, and I knew I always had a way with discernment, being able to understand people, empathize with people's situation. So it was a different curve from business, but it helped me to understand. My senior year, I took a business course. Like I said, I was major psychology, and I said, if I'm going to be here, then I want to maximize my college experience.
Of course.
Right? So anybody in college, if you maximize your opportunity, don't just sit there, take advantage, right? But my professor, his name was Gene Poor. I'll never forget him. I actually, every time I go to Bowling Green, I still try to stop in and see him. But what he really did was he validated what I already knew. That while I was doing music, as I said, what he validated to me was that you're also doing music business. You're doing business. I didn't realize that the part that I really loved about music business was the strategy. I love the plan. I love when we would set up our tours, when we were setting up our promotions for our new projects, the campaigns behind them, that strategy. So my final project at the end of the year was my business plan for the record label that I already had, right? And it was so interesting because it took 4 years for you to validate something like that. But I always tell people the biggest things that I learned in college was not necessarily in the classrooms. It was throughout who I met and those relationships that we built.
Yeah, that's really good right there. Validating what was already in you. You knew it was already there. Now you just needed to actually, someone from the outside needed to say, yep, it's right there. I don't know what you're waiting on or what you're doing, but now let's solidify and let's go this way.
Yeah.
And in that moment, so I knew you say you had this business plan and things like that for your record label. Did you use that model for Quality SIRvice?
I used some of it for Quality SIRvice. When I came home, a close friend of mine who we actually used to do music before, we started a studio downtown. It was called the Bulkley House Creative Space. It was downtown. So I actually implemented a decent amount of that model into the development of the Bulkley House when we first started. I took some components, really the service part. And it's funny that you asked me that because I was just looking at some old notes from back then. And I noticed a common denominator between the music and the Quality SIRvice one is to provide quality service, right? And the other one is relating to people's pain, their pain points. I noticed that as I was looking at the notes and looking at them, like that is a correlation between them. So even if I do music now, I still try to speak to how can we paint that picture for you through music, where you may receive it in a book or through a talk. Yeah.
Well, I think what you're saying is really building the foundation, and we're really getting to know, what your superpower is,
Sure.
and what quality service means to you, what quality means to you, because we recognize, and you just shared with us your pain point, right?
Absolutely.
And so you're building on that. Well, getting rid of it or recognizing it so that you can move those things out of the way so you can build new, right? Putting new wine into new skin. So I love that so much, and thank you for sharing that. Well, you guys, we're learning so much about Mr. Sir Evans' quality service here, right? And if you guys don't know how he plays the word service, it's SIR, right?
Indeed.
So it's him. He's the service, right? So that's a nugget right there. Don't miss that, you all. So I'm going to keep that in mind as well. I'm the service, right? So what am I sharing with you, and what quality am I sharing with you? So I love that so much. Well, you all, we have so much more to get to. And I think when we come back, we're going to talk more about how clarity is currency, right? Understanding. Now we know what those pain points are because we're clear on that. Now we need to figure out what the solution is and how we service our community, right? So you all, we'll be right back.
WOVU 95.9 FM, Our Voices United, a community radio station. Our mission is to provide an inclusive and participatory media platform that connects, engages, and informs every citizen and stakeholder of our community with the goal of achieving ongoing social and economic progress for all.
All right, you guys, welcome back to Futureland365. It's Nikki B here. And thank you for still being tuned in. So excited here. We have our guest, Mr. Sir Evans, founder of Quality SIRvice.
Indeed.
Right?
Indeed.
Quality SIRvice.
Indeed.
So what we just found out is Mr. Evans, his journey, right? We understand why Quality SIRvice was built, how that came about, and his journey. So I'm excited and grateful that you're sharing those things with me, because I'm sure that you're helping someone out here who's like, man, I don't know what to do. I have some issues, but those problems that you may have, and once you're able to get clarity on that and understand that and recognize it and put words or language to it, you'll be able to serve and help someone else. Therefore, you may have a business model with that, right? So build it out. So I love that so much. And thank you for sharing that. So let's jump right into it. We talk about clarity and how you help individuals get clear on what is going on with their life, right? Because we talked about too, you're a coach, you're an author, right? You're a speaker. So for you, how does clarity, what does that mean in real life, right? Having clarity with your life and being intentional. What does that really look like for you? And how do you help your clients or your community or the people that you serve have that in real life?
When I think about clarity, I think probably the simplest way to describe it as the levels and the layers that we encounter, okay? So we all have things that we're aspiring for, things we're striving to get to, those different levels that we're trying to reach. However, with those different levels also comes some layers that needs to be peeled back, right? I think it's multidimensional. We can't just look at everything as levels, because some of that stuff requires some peeling back in order to get to it. And when it comes to clarity, oftentimes clients are overwhelmed because they can't separate which layers are required for which levels. Okay. So the clarity is really just about understanding every time that you're going to go to a different level, you're going to have to focus on those layers. And even if you're maintaining the level, you still have to make sure that you're maintaining those layers. So what are those layers? How do we maintain them? How do we focus on them? And how do we develop those healthy habits and routines?
Come on, psychology major.
Yeah.
Because that is mad real, right?
Yeah.
I've heard this before, and I'm starting to really see those things and understand it even more. And you just really shed some light or gave clarity, on this. What I mean by that is each new level requires a new version of you.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, and with what you're saying and putting that into the equation as well, it makes so much sense.
Sure.
Yes, each new level requires a new version of you, which means you have to unpack.
You have to
right?
unpack.
Those same habits that got you to level 3 or 4 is you're not going to be able to sustain. You're going to have to obtain a new skill set or new habit or a new level of discipline, right? So
or even a new way of looking at it. I mean, even just think about the episodes, right? The current episode that you're on versus where we are now. The things that you're going to learn or pick up even from working with the guests, right?
Yeah.
Even from seeing those different experiences. And you could remain the same, but you probably won't, because you'll notice certain things that you want to change, right? You desire to change it because you desire to be better. But because you're doing it and you're actively doing it, which is very important, because a lot of times we don't get in the game and actively do. But since you're actively doing it, you can examine it in real time and say, okay, these are the areas,
it's like a visual note journal,
absolutely,
if you will. So that's what the real life is. That's how you share with your clients. If you just did that within a few seconds with me, like, did you all see the light bulb jump right
the
here?
light bulb.
It was right here, like,
right.
Just as simple as having a different perspective or being more open, right? And doing the thing, right? So clarity, right, is there's a level there and a layer of consistency.
Absolutely. Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that just bubbled something with me as well. So is that something that you share with your clients as well? Doing the things, getting in the game? Because we can look at the podcast all day. We can read the books, but are we actually doing it, right?
Yeah.
And once you do it, you're being it, because it's taking it all in. So share more about that.
Here's the thing that I love. So when I first started, the predominant audience that I work with were older individuals. I got called into more of colleges. I mean, middle schools, high school was over since the pandemic. And I think the reason why I started with older individuals because they've seen bumps in the road already, right? They've already experienced turbulence. The students haven't experienced it yet, so there's an extra piece that you have to connect there, right? Where you don't have to connect it with adults. But I say that because we're in the game every single day. Every single day. Most of the clients they struggle to get in the game, their head in the game, but they're already in the game. So a large piece of it is examining your highlights. We're examining where you've already been in the game, right? We're examining your day-to-day. Every single day it's a different version of you that's being created, right? It's not completely different, but we need to examine where you've been to understand where you're going and how you're going to get there. And that's the biggest piece. We don't give ourselves credit enough in order to keep the momentum going. So let's take a moment. Let's examine where you've already been, because you put me in the room with anybody, I can highlight your reels.
So that's good. I'm glad we're cooking with hot grease.
Sure.
Right? Because now I'm like, well, what does that look like?
Yeah.
So, sir, help me understand and help our audience understand as well. If they're looking or if they reach out to you like, bruh, I need help, right? I have all these ideas, I have these things, but I'm struggling, right? Can you help me? So what is that one-on-one time or that coaching or consulting time, or once we're at the points where we're sitting down together, I'm your client, what does that look like? How do you show me your highlight reel? Do we go to your office? Do you come to my house? Or what does that look like?
So typically what that will look like, to answer your question first.
If it's a one-on-one. Because I know that you do groups and you do workshops with schools and corporations and things. But we got to figure out which layer it is that you're trying to peel back and what level you're trying to go on, right? So that's what we're trying to figure out first. There's usually a lot of stuff on top of that
to get to that, right? Which is really baked inside of your why is probably next to that. What you love to do is baked inside of that. Who you surround yourself with, what you thrived in school, what makes you actually get up and go to the job that you go to, right? Even if you do not enjoy the job itself, what makes you get up and go, right? We have to examine all of those things in order to get that momentum, but what level do you want to impact, right? So let's use an example far as, I remember a first client that I was working with. Initially, we thought it was a weight loss that they were trying to focus on, okay? But as we got into the weeds of it, it wasn't so much the weight loss, it was more or less the career field, right? It's just so much that the weight was a byproduct. Sometimes on a bad day, the weight may contribute to me not feeling like I'm hitting my maximum potential. But if I could really be in a field where I love what I do, then I think that would put some other things in a perspective for me too.
Because if I love what I do, I'm going to want to be there.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to want to be my best self doing it. I'm
Absolutely.
going to put my best foot forward. I'm going to want to dot my I's, cross my T's, go to the gym, wake up earlier, get some meditation time. Right?
Yeah. That's why that layer level is important. And that's why I say the workout journey was an ingredient. Yeah. That was the first one for me that I saw, right? It was me being able to apply myself physically to a task and see dramatic results. Okay, so once I saw that, I began to apply it to my passion, and then got some traction. I began to apply it to my finances, my spiritual walk, right? Another very huge one, of course, my mental health was always, well, I'm not going to say always, but it was something that I had really focused on throughout the journey. But there's a difference between my mental health and my emotional health, right? So when we talk about clarity, we also have to venture into, this is around the time I've been married for 6 years, right? And there's a different type of clarity and alignment as a single man versus being married, okay? So,
yes, it is. There's a lot of sacrifice and choosing daily.
Absolutely.
Right?
You're choosing daily, and that is the joy of it, because you get the option on whether you want to grow or not. But that prerequisite showed me how to peel back those different levels. So it's like, what is it that you want to focus on? And I always recommend people, don't overwhelm yourself with trying to knock out every layer at the same time, right? Yeah. Because if you focus on
one, you want to do everything right now. Like,
of course.
Microwave, hit the button.
Of course.
How come it's not done in 10 minutes, sir?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Absolutely. It takes time.
It takes time.
You know, your life takes time. It's a fine wine. The 25 logic of not being here past 25, a lot of people think that subconsciously. I'm not going to be here tomorrow. Okay, well, you know, we plan for tomorrow, right? But we still acting today. Okay, so you can still put some plan in there too. You don't have to just throw it in the wind. But specifically, where do we want to see that growth at first?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Wow. So it sounds like this takes time. You really have a conversation with the individual. With that. So that's huge. That's so important and so good. Going back to what you were saying with the workout, that was a component, right? It was a test, right?
Sure.
So you needed to graduate.
Absolutely.
Because if you had never done that, we would not be sitting here talking right now. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So is that something that you also share with your clients? Do you get vulnerable
Absolutely,
with them and
I
share
do.
your journey as well?
I have to.
To help them open up?
I have to. And it's something that I've learned along the way. It was actually something that my mentor helped me to uncover.
So you have a mentor.
I do.
So it's important to have a mentor. Important to have someone who has been through the things and know the things to be able to share with you and not hold back, but say, dog, no, it's not the way to go. Yeah. Let me show you how. Or let's figure it out together. Yeah. So that's huge. Even at this level in your life, you have a mentor. So we all have to submit and learn and listen from someone. That's huge. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was one of the things that he instilled with me, was to share that vulnerability. I think it was a video or something on Facebook that I had put out where I was when I was still like 475 pounds, and I was doing my P90X or whatever it was, and I had my
P90X.
shirt off. Oh yeah, it was a P90X, and it was Insanity. That was the one.
Oh my
It was
goodness, I
Insanity.
remember though.
And,
So it was the DVDs.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Insanity. No, they gave me at least 75 pounds.
Yeah.
I got at least 75 pounds off of them. But
That's what's up, man. I love that.
Yeah. But this video where I'm doing this exercise, my shirt is off, right? And I'm doing the workouts, and he says, just a vulnerability that you have to show this with the world. I said, well, I've been there. I did it. It was like, they need to see it. I saw it. It's a war wound, if you will, right? And we all have some of them, but I've learned that you have to be vulnerable because we're doing life, right? These days are going by. You're either developing some level of wisdom with the days that go by or some level of foolishness as the days go by. But which one are you grabbing onto? It comes in very small increments, but which one are you grabbing onto?
Foolishness or wisdom? Wow.
And it's just about sharing that with people. And I think that's I know that's one of the things that makes me good at what I do.
Yeah.
Because of what I have went through, and it allows me to open up for others and what they're going through, right?
Yeah.
And helping them to identify what that superpower is. Because as we're going through those weeds, as we're trying to figure out what it is, we're also figuring out that superpower. What is that strength that you're going to use to get you there? And then what is that level, right?
Wow.
But yeah, I think vulnerability is important.
Yeah, vulnerability, what I found, is the key to communication and building relationships. Because if you're not honest and vulnerable with yourself, you can never be honest and vulnerable with anyone else. So I think that's so important, and a major key here in this conversation, and how Sir is able to have quality service because he is vulnerable. So you guys, that was amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
You know, the chaos and bringing clarity to that chaos with his clients. So you all, that was great. When we come back, we're probably going to talk a little bit more about why y'all keep talking about what is the superpower? And do I have one too? I don't know. He may ask me that question, but we'll be right back, you all.
We're here for your breakthrough every step of the way. From setup to final mix, we're here to make your dreams a reality. Your music, your podcast, your events, all at Breakthrough Sounds.
Hey, you guys, welcome back to Futureland365. It's your girl, Nikki B, in the building, and I'm here with the awesome, the amazing Mr. Sir Evans of Quality SIRvice. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for sticking around this long.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't leave me yet, you all, so the conversation must be good.
We're good. We're good.
We're good. I think he's going to play some psychology mind game tricks on me. I think he's already been doing that this entire conversation.
Oh, not me. Not me.
Oh,
no,
my gosh.
no,
I feel like he has been. Yeah. You guys, so we were talking about, Sir bringing clarity to chaos with his clients. And I think that's so phenomenal to do that. And we've also talked about in this conversation, or dropped little gems and hints on what is your superpower, right? Sure. So with that, Mr. Sir Evans, what would you say your superpower is?
Well, I have a couple of superpowers.
Okay. So you can have more than one.
You can have more than one.
Yeah, because we're dimensional, we're dynamic individuals, right?
Indeed, yep. I would say the earliest one was communication, gift of communication.
Because if you didn't know, if you all missed in the beginning, he's a rapper.
I am indeed.
He's a rapper.
Yes, indeed. Vision, which I also refer to as visionary grit. Visionary grit, because there's a certain level of tenacity and persistence that comes with vision. So if that is your superpower, then nothing's really going to stand in the way of the vision that you have, right? And I'd probably say, if I were to say top three, intentional focus. Yeah.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
Intentional focus, and
Yeah.
that plays into to having vision. Right?
Indeed, it does.
Yeah,
Yep.
you got to be
Yeah.
focused to
Yeah.
continue and play out or to work out that vision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
discerning on who is going to be a part of it. If the
Indeed.
vision is for me or if this is for someone else to do.
Yep.
So yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. What's your superpower?
I knew you were going to ask me this question. Oh my goodness. So help me figure this out,
Okay.
right? Bring some clarity to what I think possibly, or all these words. Let's
Okay.
summarize it and hone it in, right?
All right.
So for me, I am relational.
Okay.
I can build relationships where I'm able to have a conversation with a stranger.
Okay.
And then before you know it, they're sharing a story with me.
Mm-hmm.
I am teacher.
Okay.
I don't. I'll give a little background. My cousin, one of my younger cousins at the time. Now he's married and has 2 kids, right?
Okay.
I was helping him with something with his school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a paper or something like that. And here we go. It just came to me, patience.
Okay.
So I was helping him with something, and he was like, "You just helped me within 10 minutes." And my teacher, I had her all year, or I had him all year.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
like, "You should be a teacher. Why aren't you a teacher?" So I would say those things,
Okay.
and adaptability.
Okay.
So meeting your 3, so I'm going to say 3.
Okay. So adaptability is a superpower within itself. So let's add that. If you already took that one out the box.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. What's the earliest time that you can remember you having one of these conversations with a stranger, someone where it just clicked and they kind of just started opening up to you? What's the earliest you can remember?
I don't know about how early, but I do remember being each role, like job that I've had some jobs. I'm like, wow, how did you end up there and doing that? Well, I was figuring out life, right? But I was in hospitality at this journey in my life.
Yeah.
And there was a young lady, she was having difficulties with other people, staff, things in her life, things like that. And every now and again, I would take her home, or I would say, "You need to ride home tonight," or something. And I would take her home. And in those moments, in those car rides, or even before she would get out of the car, she would say, "Just thank you so much for listening."
Yeah.
And no one really listens to me. So, and she was emotional,
Yeah.
right? So just moments like that, or another journey in my life where I had a totally different job, right?
Yeah.
And a young lady, she was much younger than I was, but I would just share words of encouragement with her. And she's, "Girl, why aren't you a motivational speaker?" Right?
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. I never thought about that, right? So those little moments and those
Yeah.
little pockets. So
So let me ask you this. Do you have siblings?
I do.
How
I was
many?
just sharing this with Eddie.
How many siblings you got?
I'm the oldest of 6.
Oh.
Yeah, technically so it's like the Brady Bunch. My stepfather had 3, my mom had 3. So yeah, so I'm the oldest of 6.
Okay. Okay. So what is it that stood out about you, right? Like what's that one thing that they always kind of hinted at about big sis?
Yep.
I got a good idea of what I feel like your superpower is already, but
Okay.
I'm just kind of getting some addition. I'm going to share what I'm thinking, right?
Okay.
Already I'm thinking it may be purposeful presence, right? Because there's a presence about you that even without a lot of words, a lot of energy, or a lot of extraness, the presence is still felt, right? And it's with these strangers, there's something about you that's picked up. Either torn between that, could be both, but I'm also thinking about what I call this rooted identity. Okay, so people whose superpower is rooted identity is typically they've always known who they were, right? Even if it rubbed people wrong, didn't always settle in, they always were kind of true to who they were and why they operated the way that they did. And that can also cause a lot of friction, which is why people struggle with their superpower, because it gets shunned a lot, right? If you walk through this life where a majority of people have no idea who they are and they're trying to find themselves, and you know who you are the entire journey, then of course you're going to have some conflict. So those two, just from what you shared, jumped out. I know we were talking about you being an athlete, and the last one I asked on this one because it's one I'm thinking about too, but what was it about the sports that made you love them, and or are there any hobbies that you still do that reflect them?
Yikes. So what I loved about the sports was, quite honestly, I had a chip on my shoulder. I was proving people wrong that pretty girls can do this, right? Because quite honestly, I wanted to be a cheerleader first, but it was said that anyone can jump up and down and show their underwear, right? So I was like, what? And I didn't realize it, but I had something to prove. And quite honestly, I was really good.
Yeah. So also I hear some resilience. So there's a series of things I usually walk through with people to figure out what their superpower is, but those are some of the ones that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And the dope thing about it is that regardless of the combination of superpowers that you have, you can see how they've directly impacted your life up until this point. So if you can see it, then you can now function in it.
Right.
But that's the beautiful thing, because it doesn't matter what the combination is. And that's the fun thing about people, because everybody's got a different combination.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, well, such and such has the same superpower. But no, there's a different combination on how it was cultivated, which will never be duplicated. Even with you and your siblings, somebody else may in that family have adaptability, but how you cultivated it is still an entirely different story.
Different.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys, you just seen real time
There it is.
how Sir Evans and Quality Service, how they help individuals like myself, like you, unpack and see and find out, reveal the levels and the layers, right?
Yeah.
And to find out exactly what your superpower is.
Yeah.
So I think that's phenomenal. I think that's so dope, because I'm over here reveling like, oh, yes.
How were we? Were we close? Did those resonate?
You know what? I think that's so good. So let's backtrack.
Sure.
So we said the first one was
Purposeful presence.
purposeful presence.
Yeah.
And we said
Rooted identity.
rooted identity.
Yeah. I also see resilience and adaptability.
Resilience and adaptability.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys, if you guys know me, let me know in the comments. Let us know. Is Sir on?
know.
Is he on point with that, you guys?
Because that's the homework assignment. I always ask people. I say, go ask someone who's close to you. So we can get this in real time. For those who know, let us know.
Yeah.
Ask someone who's close to you, because we usually overlook it.
Yeah.
We're too close to our own strength. So ask someone who loves you. Like, what's my superpower?
I sure will.
Yeah.
And I'll share this as well. So my name is actually Nicole. I think you guys know that. Nikki B. I mean, that's part of my name, but my name is actually Nicole, which means victory of the people. So with what you just gave and
That's
knowing
good.
what my name is and understanding that did
That's beautiful.
click for me.
Yeah.
Once I understood that and recognized my identity and who I am. I did walk a little different. I did rub people the wrong way,
Sure.
not intentionally, and it actually broke my heart or kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, knowing that, man, why you like this, you know?
Yeah.
But I understand it, because not everyone really understands who they are and can walk in that power.
Absolutely.
So so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That was so cool, and it didn't hurt at all.
See?
It did not hurt at all. I think that's so cool and so dope.
Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it hurts peeling back the layers. It depends on where we are in the journey.
Yeah, okay, because that was surface. That wasn't really.
You did good. You know you're
Okay.
in tune with yourself, right? You know yourself well. So
We don't have tissue up here, so I knew I couldn't
Right.
cry. But like, oh, you're so right. A teeny. You remember that from The Wiz.
right.
Okay, so talking about, now we just figured out, okay, what is your superpower? So we have these beautiful planner, calendar things here. So walk us through what they are. Are they different ones? Are they just different colors? Do they have different things that they can do?
So it's the superpower planner. Okay. So it was actually birthed from Quality Service. So as I would sit down with clients and that working through what it is that we're doing, I would always kind of do some brainstorming. Okay. What is the goal? What is the level? What is the goal that we're trying to get to? Okay. Once we've done that, then we open up another tab in a folder that I had, and I'd say, okay, well, what are the prerequisites that are going to be required to get there? Okay, we understand what the goal is, and the goal isn't, it never starts as a clean sentence. It starts as paragraphs. It starts as a long way to China. Like, it could take a page full, and that's fine. Like, let's get it all out, right? But what are the prerequisites? What is it going to take to get there? Because every goal has steps within it that need to be accomplished, okay? So as I would sit with clients and we would go through this, I would also notice that a large part of the planning process was not fun, right? A lot of people didn't like the plan, even though it's a necessity for where they're going. I said, how can we make this fun? How can we make this engaging? And also, how can we connect it where our planner and our plans are just as important as our phone that we can't leave home without, right? In this day and age, we would probably feel silly leaving home without our phone, like feel empty.
That's
so
true.
How can we make it so that our plans are just as attached to us, right? So the Superpower Planner was born. So each of them has what we call a companion feature. It's a tech feature in it, whether it's wireless charging, built-in charging. I can show you here. So
yeah, please. You know, most of us here, our Futureland 365 audience, we're visual learners.
Yeah, so there's a couple different models too.
Let's check this out. It's kind of heavy a little bit.
It is. It's got some weight on it. So this is the sidekick that you have in your hand.
So do I just push this button or?
So that's the latch. Twist that open.
Oh, twist it. Okay.
Yep, and open that up there.
So we twist it
open. Walking with you. Yep. And on the inside,
you all know he's a teacher because I'm going to walk through this with you. You know he's a teacher. Okay.
You have your charging port in here as well.
So nice.
So this comes out. So whether it's an iPhone, Type-C, and you even have the old school droids in here too, which is underneath here, right underneath, connects in there. Okay. You can charge your phone with that too. Any devices in there too, they can charge.
So nice. I love how it's like silver or chrome along with this cognac.
Yep.
Honey color.
That
so
russet
nice.
brown.
Okay,
russet
it's nice.
Brown. Now the cream, we just released a cream one last year in this color. Ladies love it, and it's also carnation.
Did you see how I just like?
You would love it. You would love it.
I'm gonna have to get one.
You would love it
for sure.
And then you can
A
also.
little bit, mine is a little upside down, but that's okay.
You can also charge your phone with it on the outside here. So wireless
so you just
charging.
Place it right on
place
top?
it right on there. You can charge.
So does
your phone
this
with
have to get charged first?
Yes. So in the front here too, same way you would charge your phone up. So this piece comes out. We'll go right into a laptop or a charging block, and this is how you charge your planner back
when
up.
I turned it on, it turned green. So.
Yep. Now, when those green dots that are on there disappear, that means you need to be charged up.
You need to charge. Okay.
That one probably needs to charge.
Yeah, so this one has just one, and yours is like 3. Full.
Right.
Yeah.
So
all right,
we're
that's
ready
cool.
to go.
Yeah.
And I say the charging I usually don't charge it that much, maybe once a week. Now, that page you're on is a good page, right?
This monthly recap?
Yeah, so each month has a monthly recap. What are the areas that you excelled in? What are the areas of opportunity? Opportunity, weaknesses. Where did I stumble at? How can I improve? We did research on our clients that had the most success with the planners, and one of the things that had the most success was they jotted down areas of improvement each month. That way, when they journeyed into the next month, they see what were some areas that I could grow in and how can we apply that next month.
And that's hard.
You're
talking about the hard part. Yeah. That's hard to really look and say, I fell a little short. Or not even say I fell a little short. I fell short.
I fell short.
I need help here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And writing it down, right? Because we have those features, but this is one of the reasons why so much research supports us writing things down. I think it's like 30%, 40% people goals are higher attained just from writing things down.
You guys know I'm always taking notes here. Always.
She's been taking notes the whole time. Right?
Always.
So just writing things down.
Yeah.
And the page here too, this is where we talk about those different layers that we're trying to focus on. So these are the ones that I've noticed as we work with our clients. These are the ones that we saw the most: spiritual, mental, physical, work, financial, passion, right? And oftentimes your work is not the same as your passion. Sometimes we're trying to make it the same, but not in all seasons of life will your work reflect the passion. So we have those different sections in there. And this is what I mean when I say we always tell people don't try to focus on each of these at the same time.
Okay.
Pick one. If you're ready to get it on, pick maybe 3. If you want to go full force. But I always tell people start with one layer. What is that layer that you want to improve in? And then what is the prerequisites that are going to be required for you to achieve it?
Okay.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, this planner is full of all of the good stuff. Yeah,
So,
it has a action plan, days of the week. It has a calendar in here. Even has something for your budget.
It does. It has your monthly budget in there too, broken down weekly too, because your money is just your budget is a plan for your money.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you need it just to be able to track what's going on with your finances and have a plan for it too.
Right. Yeah. What I'm hearing right now is how you do anything is how you do everything.
Bingo.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's rough.
And that's another reason why you don't have to do all of the layers at once. That's why if you focus on one, you'll ultimately more than likely see those other layers area that need improvement. If I'm in my home and I have just cleaned the kitchen, and I mean the kitchen is spotless from top to bottom, and I go into that living room and that living room is a mess,
dog.
I'm probably going to want to clean it up.
Yeah.
Now, I might not jump right to it. I probably will, right? But I now consciously am thinking that I want to clean this living room next.
Yeah.
And the same impact happens when we start to peel back those layers, when we're going through those different levels. Because even as we're going through those different levels, those different rooms that we're going into, they often require a different version of us.
Right.
Right. And even more importantly, maintaining that. That's the most important part, especially as leaders.
Yeah.
Leaders understand what their superpower is. They understand what the goal is, what the plan of action is. They struggle with the alignment. They struggle with the clarity. Things often get murky, and they get murky frequently. That's where our leaders struggle with. That's why we see so much burnout, right? That's why we're seeing that burnout. It's that imbalance. And not to play on words, but we have to be careful with balance versus being balanced, right? Being balanced would mean that we've already achieved it, right? So there's a little bit of a balance that we're trying to pursue, but also understanding that we're never actually going to fully be balanced.
Right.
You know.
That's good. What I'm hearing right now, after hearing what you're talking about, using the reference of your kitchen is spotless, and now you're walking into the living room, like, what is going on? So what I hear is, and also correlating that with the maintenance, right? The continuous maintenance. Is just wash the dishes.
Yep.
Wash the dishes as you're done with them, or clean the kitchen as you go.
Yep.
Right? One dish at a time, one pot at a time. Wipe this counter, and before you know it, because that's where the momentum is.
That's where the momentum is.
And our wise man once said to me, momentum is hard to get, but it's hard to stop.
Yeah.
So once you get the momentum, go on the flow with that. Go there. Do that. So do the easy things first, right? This takes 3 seconds to do. Oh, this takes another 5 seconds. And before you know it, you've worked 90 minutes.
Yep. Yeah.
And you've got quite a few things done.
Yep.
So that's good. I love this. I love unpacking and seeing what here we go. This way. What is your superpower? Man.
Yeah.
And he just did I told you guys he was going to do some psychology and his service-ism thing.
Yeah.
Right here with me. So that was amazing. Thank you for walking us through that and sharing that with me. You just highlighted some things for myself.
Well, this is why it's the superpower planner, but it's also I've become the superpower planner. It's become both meanings. So I help you plan that superpower, so that you can create those goals and plans and systems that work. Because even when you say washing the dishes, right? Systems is a scary word. It's not sexy. Systems is not it's not a sexy word.
Or having a process.
Yeah, nobody wants a process. That's not sexy. A process. But even someone who stumbles through life has a process. Choosing not to get up and do anything each day is a process, right? It's a subconscious one, right?
Talk about it.
But that simple thing of washing the dishes, those are those consistent things every day, right? So when we think about what is the goal, what is the plan, when we're jotting down a daily thing, when someone looks at these pages and they're saying, okay, well, what am I supposed to do each day? Like, what am I writing in here? One of the things is, what are those small things that you can do each day that contributes to you getting to that level? those small things. They are small things. They are not the big things. They're the small things that you can do each day. And that's all a system is. That's all a process
And
is.
you're walking the individual through that, like the
Yeah.
like give an example and things like that.
Yeah.
So once you have a blueprint and an example for something,
Sure.
it takes away the challenge of it. Like, because really a lot of times the challenge is the murkiness, not knowing the
Yeah.
next step.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So once you know and identify what that next
Yeah.
step is, you're like, oh, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
I heard Dr. Charles Motlin wrote a book. I don't know if this is the name of it, and forgive me, Dr. Motlin, but he said, I heard him speak at one time, and he said it's only hard because you don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so simple.
It's
oh
so
my
simple.
gosh, it's so simple
So
because you
simple.
don't know how to do it. So having
Yeah.
a mentor, having
Yeah.
a coach, or
Yeah.
going to listen to a speaker,
Yeah.
those are ways that you can find the blueprint or
Yeah.
have a path set before you so that you can, okay, I could do this,
Yeah.
I can do that,
And doing it.
and doing it.
Just starting. Like just getting started. Like just getting the ball going. Like just
Yeah.
doing something. When I walked out of the house at 525 pounds, I had no idea what I was doing. I walked around the block and I came home. I didn't have any clothes to work out in, right? So if I didn't have any clothes to work out in, I wasn't working out.
Wow.
If I didn't know what I was eating when I was done at 525 pounds on day 3, I'm not walking again, right? So I see those things, and so I start to improve in those areas, but I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
One block turned into 2 blocks. I knew that my gym was maybe about 20 blocks away, and I said, oh, wow, that's a goal. If I could, if I could walk there, and that eventually became the thing, right? But you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what, if you don't ask questions, if you're not getting out there. I personally feel like I searched for a mentor longer than I should have, right? But I knew that I wanted one, and I knew that I needed one, and the Lord eventually provided one, okay? And I do want to say this too, especially when we talk about plans, because someone may think that I live life strictly by the plan, right? I am a firm believer that God has his hand on this whole thing, okay? But I also know that Matthew 6:33 is something that my father used to always share with me, right? Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. So if I seek you first, right, not let me come up with the plan, then present it past you. Let me run the plan, and then let's get you to sign off on it. No, let me invite you in first, right? Let me invite you in first, and then let's go on, because even if you knock over everything that I have, you knock over this sandcastle idea that I have, I know whatever it is, yours is going to be better.
Much bigger,
Okay?
much better.
And that is the source of my superpower. But I often tell clients, because certain situations and areas, the Lord isn't always invited into those spaces, okay? But the common thread when taking that step is that there has to be a faith check. Okay, there has to be a level of faith that you're going to trust in a process that you've never walked. Okay, so even before we get into the supernatural, there has to be a level of faith that I'm about to venture into something that I've never done before. And I don't know what it looks like, but I'm just going to have faith.
Right. Oh, I'm just over here smiling and gleaning
Yeah.
what you're talking about because it's so good. We really can't escape what the word says, right?
Sure.
Because the word is there to guide us and to give us some direction and some parameters on life because, yes, I can do whatever I want. Oh, but it's not so, profitable for you to do
Absolutely.
that, right?
Yep.
And then also what you're talking about there too is when you seek him, right? He's going to light your path.
Absolutely.
You may not know, it may be so dark.
Absolutely.
But as you go, again, doing, right? Doing it.
Yep.
And that consistency builds that confidence, and that confidence brings clarity.
Indeed.
So,
Indeed.
Sir Evans, this has been amazing. I'm very much grateful, and you've just added more value and confirmation with what we just talked about here today.
Beautiful.
And how you just shed or just gave more language and just confirm some things that I already know.
Yeah.
So going through that little small consultation,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, it's very small, but
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it and for you sharing your gifts.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you.
not hiding it under a bushel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm thankful to share.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. So here's my last question before we
Sure.
go, because we definitely have to go, you all.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're going to have another conversation for sure, because there's so much more. You're very much dynamic, and you have so many things that you're working on.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you this question, and what is something that you're working on right now that you're passionate about or excited about? Any passion projects or?
Yeah. Well, we're gearing up for the 2026 Superpower Planner, of course. But I actually challenged myself to write another book. I've been having so many conversations. I do so many speaking events and courses around the superpower, right? And helping people to identify it. And I get so many questions. And I asked, where's the book, right? So I gave myself a challenge, a 30-day challenge. I gave myself a 30-day challenge to get this book done. So if people want to tune into that,
Yeah.
we are in the midst of those 30 days. Things are going well, but people want to tune into that, they can tap into the social media, and we have an email thread with the play-by-play. Something
Don't
that's
just say
interesting.
social media. Give them
Yeah.
the deeds. How can they
Yeah,
reach
yeah,
out
yeah.
to all of your social media platforms? Don't just say that.
So the easiest one is Quality SIRvice.
Okay.
Quality SIRvice is spelled SIRVICE. It's through there. You can find the Superpower Planner page as well for the Superpower Planners. And my personal page is Surreal Life, SIRREL,
Of course.
Surreal Life. You know, the whole concept of it is we show the business and how it's working with our clients from Quality SIRvice. What does it look like from the community standpoint and the tools that we have that serve them through Superpower Planner?
Yeah.
And the behind the scenes of it all, we see that through the Surreal Life. So you get a different perspective of it all to motivate, inspire, and empower you. But yeah, I'm working on a book to help individuals tap into that authentic power and turn it into a purpose-driven process.
Yeah, this is that's amazing. I'm going to be watching that journey because I
absolutely.
found myself watching everything that you've been into.
Thank you.
All of your speaking
Yeah,
engagements,
thank you.
how people are attracted to you and how they listen to you.
Yeah.
Right? I heard one conversation and you were shedding light for a young man. I don't think you knew the person, but he was like, "Yeah, that's it." Man, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So although I didn't see the
Yeah.
individual, I heard in his tone that you were accurate and on point, and he was having in real time that clarity as well. So continue doing what you're doing. You are awesome and amazing.
Thank you so much. I
And
appreciate you in this
continue
time.
walking in your purpose.
Yeah.
And this has been great.
It has been, and you've been fantastic. I think this was great, and I'm so thankful for you all for having this platform for us to come over here and for the
sure.
audience too. You know, I really hope it's something that's impactful for them to be able to just start thinking about what that superpower is. What is that clarity that you may be having in the midst of that chaos that you have? Because I think that that's a fantastic summary of what a lot of seasons in life feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, man, do you feel it? Do you feel it on the other side over there? Because I'm just overjoyed over here. I'm grateful to be in this position, to be able to talk to individuals like Mr. Sir Evans with services like Quality SIRvice and those types of businesses. And that's exactly what we talk about here on Futureland365, highlighting bold innovators, entrepreneurs, and creators. So I'll share with you all a couple of key takeaways. I'm not going to share everything on my pages here, you all, but I'll just share a few, and I'll just run them down very quickly. So everyone, we all have a breaking point, and at that breaking point, you have a choice. Are you going to stay here or are you going to move on, right? Because moving on means you're going to a new level. And once you get to that new level, there's layers to unpack there, right? So each new level requires a new version of you, which means you have to grieve or shed some things, let some people go, let some bad habits go, right? Yeah. And then also every day we have the choice too. Are you going to receive foolishness or wisdom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's it. And then make the most of your time, because that's what I found that you did when you were in college. You decided to make the most of your time.
Yeah.
So I think that's so good. Do I have one more thing on here? No, not that I want to share. And we're looking forward to watching you in this 30-day challenge.
Absolutely.
And we're looking forward to this book. And I'll definitely be on there to give what is your superpower and how to cultivate that thing, right? So I love that.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to get is it the light?
Cream?
Yes, the cream.
Light book. Superpower parent psychic. That's the psychic.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to get this one.
Absolutely.
All right, you all. Well, that's it. That's all. Nikki B here. Till next time. Peace.
Moving on, yeah. Moving on, Futureland, what's up, yeah.